Hello there everyone, how you doing today? I hope you're all well. Today we're going to r/entitled parents. I hope you will enjoy and like and subscribe if you do. Now, let's get started, shall we? Entitled Mom versus Paramedic. It was 10 a.m. on a cold January day in the north of Germany. After finishing a call, we sat down for coffee at our station and were ready for everything. Our pagers rang and showed girl feeling unwell, no further information. That can mean anything, from just a cough to CPR. On the radio, dispatch told us that a woman called and said that her daughter feels sick and was having chest pain. Age wasn't disclosed, she just hung up. After arriving in a small village with lights and sirens, the entitled mom came out. Entitled Mom.
Why all the noise and lights? The neighbors could think I killed somebody.
Me. Ma'am, you called us with unclear symptoms, so we need to be fast and prepare for everything. Where is our patient?
Follow me, but please stamp your foot. I don't need more dirt on my carpet.
After stamping our feet and going up the stairs, we arrived in a bedroom. The floor was full with vomit, and a 17-year-old girl was sitting beside it. She was sweating and told us about her chest and stomach pain and the dizzy spells that she had. We did our scheme and checked everything out. After giving her some medications and a needle in her arm, we tried to walk with her to the ambulance. That didn't work. She just sat down again and couldn't walk. She was too weak. I told my partner to get the chair that we got to transport patients down the stairs. Suddenly EM interrupted, and I felt bad for the girl.
Why don't you walk? You need to be stronger. No wonder why you didn't get the position at the local soccer team.
I interrupted her because I can't stand this kind of shiz. Sorry, but now is not the time to discuss that. She feels very sick, and we need to go to a hospital and make sure that it's not something serious. Entitled Mom.
I know a great hospital. My sister works there as a doctor. It is hospital.
Insert hospital here. Me. That won't work. First, it's a rehab clinic for patients after operations, strokes, and more. Second, it's almost 300 kilometers away from here. Your daughter would suffer on such a long drive, and we're not 100% sure of what's causing these symptoms.
We will see. I'll call someone.
After that, she walked out, and I was there with the girl who could barely speak and felt really unwell. She just said sorry for her mom, and I just told her that everything is okay. Only her health matters at the moment. A minute later, my colleague came, and we sat on the chair, did another blood pressure and EKG. Blood pressure was a bit high, but that's normal because of the stress, and the ECG was completely normal. After getting her downstairs and on the stretcher, I went to the ambulance and set up a few things. I noticed that the driver's door was open and wondered. I went to it and saw entitled Mom sitting on the driver's seat and trying to do something to our GPS system. Me. What are you doing with our GPS system? Entitled Mom.
Putting the address of the clinic where my sister works in. It's the best place to be. She's still on my phone.
Entitled Mom gave me the phone that I then talked in. This is paramedic, insert name here, from the ambulance service, insert ambulance here. Who am I talking to? This is Dr. Akula from the rehab hospital. My niece is your patient? Me. Yes, she is stable, but feeling really unwell. We're just leaving for the nearest hospital. Entitled Mother Sister. Why don't you come here? I work also at an ER in the hospital near ours. Me. This discussion is pointless. I'm not taking a very ill girl with an unclear diagnosis on a 3-hour ambulance drive. Entitled Mom's Sister. You can maybe let her fly in? How should I explain that to the dispatch or helicopter crew? You know that is impossible. Thanks for your offer and have a nice day. I hung up the call and talked to entitled mom again. Because you didn't change anything on our system that could prevent us from helping others, I'm not calling the cops for this. But mostly because your daughter is very sick and she needs to get very fast to a hospital. So let us do our job. You can join your daughter later because of the COVID hospital visitor rules, okay?
However, I still think the other hospital is the better option. But you do what you think is best.
After that, she walked back into the house without even talking to her daughter. After loading the girl in and getting our stuff sorted, we drove to the local ER, where doctors took care of the teen. I also warned the doctor there that EM is a bit special, but like everyone else in the healthcare business, he's used to crazy people. I talked to a nurse a few days later. The girl had a gallbladder infection. She went into surgery and was recovering well. That's what matters. Even if we have to argue with a million Karens. Entitled mom and entitled son injure a disabled kid. Backstory before the story. This story is from my cousin who allowed me to share the story. Background on her. She is now 18 and has osteoporosis and osteoarthritis since she was 4. My very protective aunt found out that she had horribly destroyed her arm in 3 places in her last ever baseball game. Her knee shortly after would give her major pain. And yes, she could walk, but not for extended periods before getting extremely tired, and was granted a power chair by the state. Now, on to the story. My aunt and cousin, she was 8 at the time, were out shopping at their local supermarket. My cousin was having a particularly rough day already. My cousin had her power chair with her. My aunt and her went over to the deli counter to pick up some sandwich fixings for a party my aunt's company was having her host. They passed around hosting duties to each member of upper management as a tradition. My aunt had told my cousin to back away from the counter and let others in front of her to be polite. So she moved the power chair away from the counter, but still within earshot of my aunt. As my cousin told me, this is when the entitled mom, we will now call her Karen, and her demon entitled son, we shall call him Cartman.
Mom!
If you know, you know. Enter the picture. Background on them. From what the cousin remembers, Karen was a rather large trailer trash woman with many missing teeth and over-volumed Karen hairdo, and her son Cartman had to be no older than 5, and was very overweight for his age. Back to the story. So Cartman walked up to my cousin and sees her leg twitch, common when she was in pain. Cartman asks why she was in a power chair when her legs were moving. My cousin responded, "You do not need to know." Cartman responds, "If I don't need to know, then you don't need your chair. Give it to me right now." My cousin responded, "No, I do need my power chair." This didn't sit right with Cartman, so he began screaming and dropped to the floor, flailing around, enough to catch the attention of the Karen, who had previously been busy on her cell phone.
"What did you do to my precious baby?"
snapped Karen. My cousin responded, "He just tried to steal my power chair." What happened next shocked my cousin.
"How dare you? How dare you do that? How dare you not give my angel son what he wants? He always gets what he wants. Now give him your power chair."
"No," she replied, "I need this chair." The ordeal at that point has drawn a crowd of a few onlookers, looking disgusted with Cartman and Karen. Mind you, at that point Cartman was still throwing a tantrum on the floor, and was not disciplined at all.
How dare you commit disability and welfare fraud?
Screamed Karen.
You will give my well-behaved son your chair, or I will force you to.
That's when Karen grabbed my cousin's arm and yanked her out of the chair. She hit the ground hard. And it's at that point when my aunt, who was preoccupied ordering her deli meats, noticed what had happened and rushed in, scooping up my cousin from the floor, ignoring Cartman and Karen. "Are you all right?" It was clear that my cousin's surgically repaired arm was dislocated from her shoulder, and at the same side, the knee was also dislocated. "Hey, stupid female dog!" Karen yelled at my aunt. In all the commotion, no one from either party noticed Cartman get into my cousin's power chair. It's at that point when management comes out from the back. Mind you, as they later told my aunt that they watched the whole ordeal from CCTV from the back and already called 911.
Ah,
Said Karen.
They will sort you out.
"What seems to be the issue here?" asked one of the managers.
This woman's low-life demon spawn just tried to steal my angel's power chair. I want them both arrested.
"Ma'am, we know exactly what happened," said the manager, while looking at the conveniently located security cam pointed right at her.
Humph. Then we are leaving,
Karen nervously shouted. "Oh, no, you're not. We already called the police," said the second manager. Yeah, that's when Karen and Cartman make a beeline for the exit with the power chair. They make it to the exit, but are stopped by a burly black officer, as it was later told to my aunt, and the chair was returned. What happened next, my cousin doesn't know because she was taken by EMS. It was later revealed by one of the bystanders that both Karen and Cartman had been arrested and held in the law until CYS came and they were separated. Well, shit. That's quite the story. Why do people suck like that? I will never know. Last story of the day. Stepmom steals my dad away from me. This is going to be a pretty emotional story to write, but I need to let this out. I'm a 17 male, and this story takes place a few years ago. My dad got a new girlfriend in September of 2019. We thought this was great. Everyone was happy, because he was pretty lonely. When we met her, she was great. She was funny, liked messing around, and was just a nice person. On Thanksgiving of that year is when the first odd thing happened. She talked about how she just left her last husband because she didn't like him anymore. She fully left the state and didn't even divorce till she was forced to. On Christmas, we were all playing around with our presents, as kids do, and all of a sudden she starts yelling at her kids for playing with our stuff, which he was permitted to use, and started pulling them by the ear. This caught everyone off guard, and my mom told my dad that he might want to be careful with her. Then February came around, and it was a normal weekend. Me, being the annoying big brother I am, decided to steal a Skittle for my sister. I know this was a pretty rude thing to do, but I was joking around and gave it right back. She then starts yelling at me for how rude it was, and how I should be nicer to her. This threw me way off guard. She started yelling because I took a Skittle. She then sent me to the corner with one leg and count to 100. This is extremely odd because no one in our entire family gives physical punishments. Meanwhile, my dad's just standing there, and my sister's trying to explain that it was fine. Later that night, I threw up, and for a very long time, I thought I was just sick. Turns out that it was a reaction to a trauma I had when I was a baby, where my biological parents starved me and my brother, and got us in trouble for eating. That's a story for another time. When I was being told about this, I also learned that since I was adopted, yet another story, my parents agreed that I would never receive punishment for food ever. This is why I threw up. My brain remembered the trauma and reacted to it. What made me mad is that my dad just stood there when he knew about this deal. After that event, we weren't told this at the time, but we didn't see them for a very long time. The story above was part of why. In August of 2021, we started to receive counseling, and in September, we started seeing our dad again. He promised that he had changed, and that entitled mom was not to give punishments to me or my sister in any way. We started rebuilding our relationship, and for a month it was good. Then 2 days before Halloween, my brother gets sent to a psychological hospital for allegedly destroying the house and bad behavior. This was hard on us, but he had been aggressive in the past, so it wasn't the hardest to believe. He got out on December 10th and was once again admitted on January 3rd. This was because he had gotten very aggressive and angry when he found out he didn't get a PS5 for Christmas. Not a single person believed this. During this period, his dog was taken away and put down and had been locked in his room for 2 weeks, only allowed to leave for the bathroom. They then had student-parent meetings. In this meeting, entitled Mom, the girlfriend, verbally admitted they locked him in his room. This immediately started a CPS, Child Protective Services, investigation. During this time, he was once again admitted to the hospital. This time it was because, and I quote, punching her kids and threatening to kill everyone in the family, hit her, and attacked the neighbor's dog. By this point, everyone knew she was crazy, and tried talking to my dad about it. His parents, his brother, his sister, us kids, my mom, everyone told him that he was being manipulated and she was crazy. He didn't believe any of it. While my brother was in the hospital, he told the doctors about everything that he'd been through. When he was released, he said he would rather be in the hospital than go home with entitled mom and my dad. This is when he started hitting the car and yelling at entitled mom, in quotation marks. She would grab her boys by the ear and make them throw away their stuff if they got in trouble. My sister and mom were told every weekend that she needed better clothes and that my mom was mentally abusing us. Weirdly, I was treated amazingly and nice. I was never talked about badly. We were also gaslit all the time. When they went to court for the investigation, she claimed that I threw the plate at my sister, and then every other accusation I've said. In April, my dad ripped up and burned my brother's adoption paper. My mom had a copy, and told him he wasn't allowed in the house anymore. He stayed at our house for a little, and then had a court hearing that gave me the right to my brother to live with his aunt. He got counseling, and we started seeing each other again. My dad was told by the state and the trauma therapist that he was not allowed any of our information or to see us ever again unless he agreed to get counseling, have entitled mom out of his life, and if we agree. She got rid of my older sister, then worked on getting rid of my brother, starting with his dog. She then moved on to my sister, and then got caught, and now they live in Minnesota. My dad still believes that she's a good person, and that we were in the wrong. I know I should dislike both my dad and entitled mom, but I can't get myself to hate my dad. He meant way too much to our lives. Oh my God! That's a roller coaster and a half. I'm just gonna swap to the Twitch clip to signal the end of the video here real quick. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment or something. I don't know. Just gonna stab your dick real quick. You know, normal vampire things. Yes, victory by dick stab.